to the Back to Mind podcast. I'm Koraj from the Positive Movement Project. The Back to Mind podcast is a part of the Back to Fit program, which is supported by the Mayor of London's Stronger Communities Fund. This podcast is about helping our listeners to understand their mental health, understand elements of psychology, and to hopefully feel positive by the end. So I'm going to give a quick recap about last week's episode, which is still available for you guys to listen to, as well as the first episode. So in short, last week's episode was about the impact of being stuck in a rut. I explained how life is a journey from A to Z and that you reach different points at different parts of your life. Sometimes we can't move forward, whether that is our doing, we might not know what to do, or it could be external factors, and we just get stuck at that point, and it stops us from moving forward with our life, or in my description, to the next letter of the alphabet. I then talked about my own personal experience of being stuck in a rut, and the impact it had on me, such as poor mental health, this feeling of no control and the anxiety that caused, blaming other people, frustration, aggression, relationship strain, a lack of energy and drive, irrational behaviours of wanting to just run away and completely ignore it, as well as even destructive behaviours, such as excessive alcohol consumption and even excessive eating. So there were some of the examples of how it impacted on me. Then I talked about how you can support yourself during those times. Begin to actually identify whether you're actually stuck in a rut. Ask yourself, are you truly happy? And then be kind to yourself and know it's okay to feel like that if you are. Don't set too high targets that you can't achieve, because that might even lead you in the first place of getting into a rut. Let people in. The more people that are aware of how you're feeling, the more likely you're able to even come up with a solution or at least a strategy to help you move forward, and that you're less likely going to experience relationship strain because they're aware of what's going on. Do activities to help you de-stress and to have fun. Take a moment to give yourself space so you can reflect and understand your needs and what you might want to do. And get professional help if you need to. That is why the experts are there. Life can be incredibly hard to navigate, and sometimes we need someone else to help us steer it in the right direction. So that was a quick recap of last week's episode. I hope that it was something that you enjoyed and got a lot out of. This week's episode is centered around people's relationship with fitness. I'll be talking a bit about my journey, my mum's journey, and even Terry's journey, who, as most of you will know Terry as the other part of Positive Movement Project, the one that you usually see jumping around like crazy running the sessions, will be actually hearing her story on how she got into fitness too. The episode may even have a part 2 to it, as I'm going to be asking a few other people to also share their stories too. So right, to begin with my journey, kind of earlier on in my journey wasn't necessarily focused around being fit or fitness as such, but actually what it kind of really highlighted was the unhealthy choices and the impact that had on me and on my body. So in secondary school, I literally thought I was the world's biggest person, and when I look back at photos of myself when I was 14, 15, 16, I was really quite slim, and it's quite shocking, and it's really sad actually, because that's not how I felt back then. It's not who I saw when I used to look in the mirror. And I remember during that time I got to a stage where I stopped letting myself eat because I thought I was so big. So during probably from year 8 all the way to sixth form, school lunches and stuff, I never used to eat. I never ate really, because I thought it was a way of me trying to control myself. And everyone knows when you starve yourself to that point, when you do eat, your body hoards what it gets because it fears that it's not going to get any other food afterwards. So then you end up putting on weight so easily because that's how your body's trying to like protect itself in a way. So that was pretty much me during secondary school, and then I got to university, and it kind of really went out of control at this point. I went from a stage where I was trying to control myself really a lot during secondary school to then having all this freedom. Really, I had all these new people who didn't know me. I felt like a brand new person, so I ran with it. I went wild. I was out all the time. We used to 2 to 3 nights a week. Bear in mind, it's only 5 days at university in a week. You used to go out with them with people on my course at the SU bar, and then we used to go to other bars and other places, and I would drink so much. Not just one or two. I'm talking about tons. Like, I remember I used to be able to do easily 4 or 5 bottles of wine, and it was the really cheap stuff back then as well, so really not the nice in any capacity, but I used to just do that all the time. And then because I was so drunk afterwards, the natural next thing you end up doing is you go and then go chill to like a kebab shop or a chicken shop, and then boom, you order everything on the menu because you're so drunk and you're like, I just need food, let me just order everything. And then you eat so badly. So I got stuck in this cycle because I was so unhappy with myself, and then I had this kind of weird sense of freedom that I got from doing or going out on these nights out and stuff like that, but then feel absolutely horrific the next day about myself, the anxiety that I was having because obviously with alcohol really impacted on that. And then so my brain ended up going into, oh, but if I do that again, I'll feel better again. And then I just got really stuck in this cycle over and over again, just doing it all the time, drinking a ton of alcohol, eating horrible, feeling bad, doing it all over again, over and over again. And I did that for pretty much the whole 3 years at university, and probably for about at least a year afterwards as well, with some new friends that I made. I was out in London pretty much doing the same thing. So I then ballooned. My weight was horrific afterwards, which is again normal with the amount of calories that I was consuming from the drink and the food. And then this person that, I thought I was when I was 14, 15, 16, how big I thought I was back then, I actually got to that size, and if not far worse than I could ever imagine, because my weight was bad. My weight was really bad, and I felt bad about myself before, but I was not great because of it. Really just so uncomfortable. So pretty much that's my history with kind of the unhealthy elements, and a lot of it is to do with the mental health that I had and my self-esteem and the way I viewed myself. And it was almost ways of me kind of torturing myself, really. Going, see, told you you're not good enough. See, told you you're this size. See, no one likes you because it was ways of me hurting myself. And then it was when I kind of met Terry that things started to change. Terry started training for, she completed a marathon actually, where I was like really impressed at what she did and really was like really proud of her. So she told me, oh, give it a go and join in the Couch to 5K. And I just was like, why am I going to do that for? I remember running for a bus at school because I had to take like 3 buses to come back home, and sometimes it got real dicey between when the first bus got to the stop and then I needed to get to the second bus, and sometimes I could see the second bus before, like getting towards the second stop before I even got off the first bus. And I remember the times I bolted for the speed of my life for a couple of meters and get on to the next bus and be so out of breath, like panting like there was no tomorrow, like I was going to pass out. So I thought to myself, what am I going to do a Couch to 5K for? And then got onto it. Terry was there to support me through it, and it was at points hard, but I can't remember what week it was, whether it was 4 or 5, but it was the one when you're essentially doing your first full mile without stopping. I did it and I was so proud of myself. And it was from that point that I was like, no, I can complete this program. Because at points before, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I just don't know. And really panicking, getting inside my head. So when I actually got to the mile, I was like, no, I can do this. If I can run for a mile, I can run for far more than that. So got to the end of the program, finished the Couch to 5K, and I was so chuffed. I just over the moon that I did that. And even afterwards, I found myself like just kind of upping up slowly how much I was running, so increasing my mileage just slowly every so often. So nothing drastic. I didn't go suddenly from a 5K to like a 15-mile run or anything, but I got to a stage where I was like running 5 miles really comfortably. And it was just all slowly, but progression, just taking its time and just making those changes here and there and just pushing myself forward. And I was able to do it. And then also what me and Terry did as well, at one point we joined the gym together, and that was brilliant, because I had such a fear of the gym before. I used to think that, oh, someone my size can never go to a gym because all the people are going to be staring at me going, you don't belong here. Really convinced myself that's how gyms work. So when I got to the gym and realized everyone's a little bit self-centered to be focused, they're so focused on themselves, they don't care about you walking into the building. Because I thought they just all stare at you, just going, oh, what? But actually, that just really wasn't the reality. And so I was enjoying going to the gym because I also had someone to go with, and then we would do the classes. And I remember the personal trainers used to, bless them, I could see that they were dreading when they had me and Terry rock up to a class because they knew they knew the chaos that me and her could bring sometimes. Because we used to take the classes, like we used to really work hard in the classes, but we would be laughing the whole way through it. And so, bless the personal trainers, they just didn't know how to cope with us sometimes. So that's why I hope when you come to a positive movement thing, like you're having a ton of fun, because actually we just want to have fun too. So I hope that's the case for everyone. But yeah, that's what really helped me actually, was to have somebody there to really push you. Because to be fair, if I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know if I could have done it on my own. I can do it on my own now because I've had somebody to kind of bounce off on when I didn't feel motivated. I had somebody to go, no, you can do it, you can do it, don't worry, you can do it. So that's something that I really want to push out there for people, is if you hadn't had, like, if you find yourself really struggling, try to make a connection with someone who also wants to go on that journey too, or who might already be on that journey, whether that's a friend, a family member. If you know that there's something you can do with somebody else, it makes such a difference. So really, I do recommend that, because it saved me in a way. So I owe Terry that much. I wouldn't tell her too much because I don't want her head getting too big. But that's kind of how it feels. I feel like Terry came at a right point in my life to help me look at myself differently. And kind of the other thing I want to really mention about the whole kind of journey as well. I think for me, I had to change my outlook. For me, fitness, I think at first was quick fix. Oh, you can drop a couple of stones, you're fine, everything's great, you've done it, you worked hard, you met your target. Okay, now you can relax, and then suddenly you've put on a whole bunch of weight because of that. So I think that's something to also bear in mind. So not only to, work with other people to do it, but it's also to change perhaps maybe how we look at fitness, look at it as a way of life and a way of being, to have a bit more of a balance, a bit of an understanding about ourselves, our bodies, rather than going, let's just have a quick fix. Because as anything, a quick fix isn't a permanent fix. And usually it kind of leaves us off far worse than we began with. So yeah, that's kind of my two things which really came from my journey, my fitness journey, is it's take your time, change just how you view things, and try to do it with somebody else, because it's just great source of fun. And it's just lovely, honestly, to have somebody there. So that's my journey as such. So just wanted to quickly share a little bit about my mum's journey, because I've been incredibly proud of her. So she wasn't someone who necessarily really did any fitness related stuff. She didn't really do anything. She used to, when she was working, she used to be up at first thing in the morning. I remember she used to leave the house way before 6 a.m. I think it was even like 5:30 a.m. or something ridiculous like that. Be at work the whole day, then travel all the way back across London, and then try to cook food for everyone, and then basically be so exhausted, be passed out and gone to bed about 8 p.m. And that was kind of the life she was living for a very long time. And it's not a healthy life to be living. It took its toll and really impacted on her body, and it wasn't nice to see. So when she retired, trying to think now when she retired, but it was quite recently, I think about 2 years ago now, or yeah, coming to 2 years. She kind of, because we started doing a lot more of the fitness stuff, we kind of, again, going the whole thing when you've got somebody else there to help kind of motivate you, kind of maybe push you a little bit. We kind of got her to start doing a lot of the stuff that we were doing. And particularly during Corona and stuff like that, like when we had the Couch to 5K, when the Positive Movement did our first one in Hanworth Park in August, when we did our first round, I got my mum to be one of the participants. And she was someone who was like, I'm never going to run. Why am I going to run for? I'm 66. Why am I going to be running now? And she completed the whole entire program. It was amazing to see. I was like, my mum's probably faster than me, and I'm like only 28 now. Like, so she did so well, and her body changed so much during the whole time as well because she was out and about walking a lot as well, doing at least 10 miles minimum a day sort of thing at one point, just because it just really helped with her mental health, and then just a positive which came out of that. She was losing weight, and that's what I was kind of going from an earlier point. It shouldn't be your main focus. Shouldn't be the weight. It should be feeling better about yourself and so on. And just the plus is that, oh, you're just suddenly losing weight, but that's not the focus. So yeah, her body completely changed. Her confidence grew massively. She became really someone who was very shy to begin with, which I think I get a lot of my shyness initially from is from my mum, to someone who was just so then just talking to everyone, and becoming friends with a whole bunch of people from the running group, that the Fab Runners, from some of the other stuff that we were doing, and just completely socializing on her own with, like, without needing me to be like, oh mum, you should do this, it'll be good for you. Just doing it completely on her own. It was just so lovely to see. So the main reason I want to share her journey was on the basis that she's 66. She pretty much started it a year ago, 65 sort of thing. And she's done so incredibly well. And so it can happen at any age. So just because we might have not made great choices beforehand doesn't mean that we can't try to make the change now. And yeah, don't let age stop you. If anything, let it push you further to make the most of it, to not waste time or treat yourself not in the right way and then suffer the consequences later. So just push yourself and have the people around you. So that's it from our two journeys. I'm going to now share Terry's journey. Terry did a bit of a pre-recorded sharing of her story, so that is going to be playing now.
Hello, 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 hello. I am Terry. I'm a personal trainer. Fierce in Training is my little PT business. And I'm also the founder and 1/3 of the Positive Movement Project. It's a not-for-profit organisation, a CIC, that aims to help people's mental well-being and combat social isolation through fitness and through sport. So I'm just going to take some time today to talk to you about my journey into fitness and why I feel that fitness is so linked to mental well-being and to our mental health, and why the two complement each other so well. So, as a child, I love to play, I love to run about, because children do. Children love play, children exercise without even thinking about it. And I love to swim. Swimming was my thing, and I used to go to a swimming club. As I hit puberty, and into my teens, my body shape started to change. And like lots of other girls, I started becoming quite self-conscious. And this was further highlighted when I was at my swimming club one day and a boy yelled out from behind me, "If you dive in, the water's going to dive out." I find it quite amusing now, but at the time, it was crushing. It was really mortifying. And from that day, exercise became something that I really didn't want to do. I didn't even want to get in the pool anymore because I was so self-conscious about my body, about how it looked to other people, and it became very much about the external rather than what was going on inside. So I had a bit of a toxic relationship with fitness for a while, actually. Throughout my teens, into my early 20s, fitness was something you turned to because you needed to burn calories. Fitness was something you had to do because you had to slim down. Fitness was something you had to do because that number on the scale was that little bit too heavy. I'm glad to say I've shaken off that mentality. It's not one that served me at that time. It's not one that served my happiness. And I spent way too many hours obsessing over that number on the scale rather than on how I felt, how healthy I was feeling, and how happy I truly was. Now, things changed hugely for me after I had my first child. I am, amazingly, you'll never believe, I'm actually a 37-year-old woman. Probably looking like it. I've not slept in the last 8 years. I had my first child, and it was just wonderful. And you view your body differently through pregnancy. You're growing a life in your body. How amazing is that? Now, when my daughter was 21 months old, she was diagnosed with cancer and had to go on, she had to undergo chemotherapy, she had to undergo surgery, at that teeny tiny age. My son has just walked in. That's what happens when you are homeschooling and working from home. He's quite happily playing on his device, so I'll carry on. Okay, and she had to undergo that treatment, and she was so little, so young, and it really made me look at the way I'd been viewing my own body. Here I was in a healthy body, a perfectly healthy body, and I'd been torturing it, really. I'd not been living my best life. I'd been viewing it with such disdain because of a number on a scale. So it made me start to think, you know what, when she's better, I want to start looking after myself a bit more. I want to treat myself better. And also I want to do some of the things that I've held back because I've been really self-conscious. And one of those was running. I always had wanted to run, but I felt like I didn't look like a runner. I would get out of breath. Oh my gosh, if I run, I won't be able to breathe. But I told myself, no, you really need to live your life. Running, you've always wanted to do it, you're going to give it a go. And I signed up to loads of charity events because I wanted to give back to some of the charities that helped us when my daughter was unwell. Now, I was totally shocked when I went for my first run and couldn't breathe. But I stuck with it, I trained, I improved my fitness, and I gradually got to the point where I entered those events, raised huge amounts of money for charity. My daughter became well again, she's now happy and healthy. But the added bonus that I wasn't expecting was what it did for my mind, okay? Now, as you can expect, going through something like your child having cancer, there's a huge amount of stress, there's a huge amount of trauma that comes with that. And I was pregnant at that time with my second child, who was in the room because he's homeschooling. But what I wasn't expecting when I went out for that run, I wasn't expecting that mental release that running gave me. It gave me time to process my thoughts. It gave me time to be in my own head for a bit without the noise of everything else. It gave me time to go through and process those feelings. And I did have a few runs where I cried because it was a release. It became like a therapy for me. And something from running and getting to meet other runners and running with them that I really learned was that exercise could be used to help your mental well-being. And it was like a light bulb moment. I'd been torturing myself through exercise, but actually, if I started from the inside out and thought about what exercise could do for my happiness, what it could do for my mental state, then all the other things that I was worried about, the body image and all of that would fall into place. That would be the bonuses of working out, would be the fact that I'm looking a bit trimmer. It doesn't even concern me, really. I love the way exercise makes me feel. And it's a way that you can self-manage to a certain extent those feelings of anxiety, those feelings of stress. Exercise is proven to help with stress, to help with anxiety, to help some of the associated feelings with depression, to help you sleep better. Gosh, how many of us are experiencing sleepless nights? Exercise can help with that as well. It's not the cure. It's not the one-stop answer to everything, but it can help. Yeah, moving more, enjoying movement and the pleasure that comes with learning what your body can do. It's amazing, and it's an amazing thing. And that's what I want to get across to other people. I want people to move. I want people to smile, to realize that fitness doesn't have to be something really serious. Fitness doesn't have to be some sort of punishment because you ate that cupcake today. We better burn off that cupcake. No, it doesn't need to be that. Fitness can be, it can be so many things. It can really, it's changed my life. It's changed my life. It's given me passion. It's given me joy. It's given me a spark. And I really hope I can help other people find that passion, joy, and spark, and to get through some of the personal issues that they're going through, to help them with some of that mental anguish. And at this time, we really, really need that. It's continued to be my go-to. I've exercised through some really traumatic experiences. After my daughter had cancer, we were made homeless as a family. Horrific, really, really horrific. But I'd already signed up to a marathon, so I carried on with my training. I'd leave the hostel that we were staying in and I'd go for my run. And again, it gave me that time, it grounded me, it let me process, it let me cope, it was my go-to. And I did that marathon. And the feeling of achievement, the feeling that I was worth something and I could do something, there's nothing else quite like it.
So that was Terry's story about her journey and relationship with fitness. I do want to just take a moment to thank Terry for everything she's done. She's been a massive inspiration. She's worked incredibly hard to benefit the people in our community. She's achieved so much with the Positive Movement Project and with Tell Be Told Theatre. And she's just the prime example of someone who just will never stop pushing themselves, to never stop trying to achieve their dreams no matter what barriers come in their way. And I'm so lucky that I have a chance to call her my business partner and to call her my friend. And even though she drives me mad a lot of the time, because I'm the person which is usually trying to sort out the chaos that she causes, I don't know anyone better than her. And I'm so incredibly lucky to have her in my life. So that is it for the episode today for this week. I hope you got a lot from hearing our stories, and I hope they're an inspiration for you guys. If you want to take part in fitness sessions, do remember you can check on our Facebook page for the Positive Movement Project, because we're doing weekly sessions, well, daily sessions actually most of the time. We do Pilates and loads of other stuff too. So keep an eye out and do take part in as much as you can, and connect with other people who are taking part as well. Because again, more people which are involved, the better it is, the easier it is to know that other people are there. So thank you for listening. My name is Coolrod and I'm from the Positive Movement Project. Take care.